So I'd rather own half of something than 100% of nothing. And that's going to be one of the topics I talk about in today's video. Now I'll go into my regular discussions about the markets and real estate. I hope it's not too distracting that I'm going on my walk, but I wanted to do a video today. Wanted to get a walk in, and I'm not sure how the day is going to play out. So stick around, should be a good video.
Want to make your money work harder? Enjoy another video with Adam Kahn, the rational investor, on stocks, real estate, and crypto. Subscribe now for your weekly dose of investment insights and hopefully learn a thing or two.
Hello, my YouTube friends, and happy Saturday. I hope you're all doing well. So what do I mean I'd rather own half of something instead of 100% of nothing? Well, that's my point about continuing to invest and understanding the market could really collapse and knowing that what you've put away could fall in half. But that's okay, at least you're saving, and it's better to have something put away than not put away, continue to spend all your money, and be left when you get older with nothing to show and have spent everything and be in a really tough position. As always, and I want to get this out of the way, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. Don't listen to me. You need to make your own financial decisions. I'm just a guy on YouTube sharing what I've done. Now, forgive the huffing and puffing, but most days I try to go for about an hour and a half or so walk each day. So you're on my uphill, and sometimes I huff and puff on the uphill walk. Anyway, I don't expect some huge correction. In fact, I saw the past few weeks as a good buying opportunity. I bought some Amazon, I bought some Google, and I bought some nvda just to share what I was buying. But only because that's in my trading account. And the things that I talk about are generally the stuff that I'm trading. And that position changes all the time. So I want you all to take it with a grain of salt. But to me, there was enough panic out there. The tariff news and everything else seemed a little overdone. And when CNBC flipped the screen and sent it to Trump, who kind of implied the tariffs may end, even if it's possible today, this weekend, whenever, I just kind of thought, oh my God, this is so overdone. It's probably more of a negotiating tactic than anything else. And the markets are reacting to all the noise because they don't like uncertainty. They want to feel secure in what's coming tomorrow. And then to be fair, there was a lot of reports that made people nervous too. I mean, Target's earnings were actually pretty good, but they noted that their February was exceptionally slow, and they expect it to be slower next year. Now, I see that as a buying opportunity for a stock because when I looked at what they actually said, they're expecting to be down about 5% or so over the next year, which is still good growth. It's just lower than their original estimate. The other thing is Target makes plenty of money to be able to pay their dividend, and it's rather inexpensive for the space they're in. Now, I know there's all this boycott and all the other stuff, but that's a little of what I like about it. To me, that's just noise. I see videos, Michael Bordenero put one up talking about how they're doing terrible and the boycotts and everything else, but like anything in this world, people forget. That stuff is short-lived. I don't really see anybody talking about Boeing anymore. I don't see anybody talking about Chipotle from years ago when they were all going to stop going there because they were having troubles. I mean, I had friends and family who said they'll never go to Chipotle again, and now it's one of their favorites. It's happened with McDonald's. Now it's happening with Target. It even happened with Starbucks not that long ago. But now people are talking about their new CEO and totally forget about it. Maybe 1/100% actually sticks through it over the years. But generally, It's a small blip, and then people forget a few months later. My guess is if you wait a couple of years, the only people still boycotting Target are the ones who didn't really shop there all that much and didn't like the store. Outside of that, people who shop there and go there are probably still going. And here's the best to me. Now listen, this is a really important spot. Like if I could do like something that lets you know this is an important thing to listen to and it's just my wacky opinion. The tariffs are going to allow companies like Target to raise their prices in advance and see if they stick. And if they stick, they'll be able to get better margins and have better profits. And if they don't stick, they'll recognize that they're just going to have to lower it back down and maybe not grow at the pace they're hoping. And who knows if the tariffs will actually happen, if they'll be canceled, or what they'll do to the real pricing for the companies who are buying the products. So it really could be an opportunity for some of these retailers and some of these others to increase their margins even more. Because if they're able to raise their prices and the higher prices stick, well, better margins, better profits, better growth. See the stock price start to go up in time. Now, I don't expect it to happen anytime soon with a company like Target. That's why I say in a year or two, that's when I would expect it. But just pay attention, watch it like interesting news, and don't be surprised to see these companies actually do better going into this tariff scare. And here's the thing, people like to complain, people like to blame, and people always like to argue that somebody else has done something to mess with their life. For most of the people watching the channel, are you still in a position where you're making money, you're paying your bills, and you're saving a little bit? Because if that's the case, well, I wouldn't stress too much. Inflation sucks. None of us like it. And it hurts those the most that make the least income. And there's always a faction of society that's struggling and having a tough time. And it's not fair and it sucks. And I get it. Like, I really do. I struggled when I was a kid, lived in a small place, shared space so that I could afford to pay bills. But you just keep chugging along and you work through it. And if you can get to the position where you can save and put away, it'll all work itself out. The reality is, people like to complain, people like to blame people, and nobody likes inflation. I'll be the first to admit it sucks. I don't like it either. And it hurts those the most that make the least because they're already tight on their bills. But just because people are complaining and blaming doesn't mean the economy is doing so bad. And the data supports that. It makes great headlines. And people love to hear people saying how things suck. But I'd bet a lot of you are making a little bit more, still don't like going to restaurants and seeing the new prices, but doing just fine and being able to continue to save and put away for the future. Just my guess. And maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of some huge crash, worse than ever before. We've got the highest credit card debt. We see foreclosures beginning to start, but if you took a look at that data, it's still exceptionally low for what it's been in the past. And we're firing a bunch of people in the government. Some corporations are firing people. So maybe it is the beginning of some huge calamity. But I'm not going to make that bet. And I'm going to bet the other way and try not to be so nervous, because people always worry about that. And trying to time it is usually a huge mistake. I can't tell you how many people over the years I've watched time it to never get back in the market, or they sell at the bottoms during COVID, during the previous crashes of like 2000 or 2008. And let's talk about that internet bubble for a little bit. You know, the NASDAQ fell 90%. Oh, yeah, 90%. So that is pretty scary. But if you were around back then, and you're old enough like me to remember, there were a ton of companies going straight up that had no earnings. Just an internet website and a name that sounded good, but no earnings. And these companies became worth a lot of money, and a lot of them are out of business now. I don't really see that being the case, and I don't see that being the type of market we're in currently. And while I agree that prices look high and PE ratios seem extended, I just don't see it being the same type of market as a dot-com bubble. And, you know, COVID was a different type of scare, different type of correction. In 2008, not only did we learn from that, you know, the Fed put is a real thing. And if you listen to Powell talk on Friday, he even referenced it and didn't say it like that, but noted that if the economy really turned for the worse, they have tools at their disposal and would act and act quickly. It's actually one of the negatives I see in the housing market. You know, what I think is between COVID and the 2008 financial crisis or banking crisis, which really should be called a housing crisis, but they talk about it as the bank crisis. I think the Fed and the government has had and learned to use tools to stop the market from crashing. So why do I see this as a negative? Because there's a natural cycle of people overextending, getting out of things, causing a correction, which creates opportunity for the next generation. I think that the tools that they have in place are making it really difficult for the next generation. By not allowing that natural course in the cycle and the crash to come, the younger generation doesn't get the opportunity to buy things cheap. Now, in some ways it's nice because we don't have a crash, but in COVID, they started to learn about forgiveness and just allowing homeowners not to pay their bills in order to not lose their homes, which helped not cause a crash. In the 2008 crash, a lot of people lost their homes, but that's when they first started to understand the things like forgiveness and coming up with ideas that they implemented in COVID. You know, again, I think it's a good cycle to have these crashes, and I think what we've learned is how to avoid them, and that hurts future generations. Now, that kind of sucks for them, but I also think that you have to recognize reality and not complain about the things you're angry about and try to adjust your lives accordingly. Now, I'm going to use two friends' examples here of people I know and show that, you know, income has gone up significantly. People make a good living, more than I really understand. When I graduated college, you were lucky to get a $30,000 or $40,000 a year job out of school. Well, I have one friend, his daughter graduated school, and she just got a job, and they're starting her at $85,000 a year. And my jaw dropped because I've heard how incomes haven't kept up and people aren't making enough. And I think, well, maybe they're doing okay. And again, they just don't like that things cost more. Because in relation to where it was when we got around 30,000, seems pretty similar. I mean, they're making more than double what I was, but going out to dinner probably costs a little more than double. Rent isn't quite more than double, but it's gone up 50 or 60% over those years. And as much as I say it hasn't doubled, maybe it has. I mean, my first apartment in Lake and Park in Chicago, which is a nice area, was like $700 a month for a pretty small studio apartment. And if I were to guess, yeah, it's probably 1600 a month at this point. So maybe things have caught up. Another friend, their daughter knew where to target. They're from Northern California. And she got a job with one of the Magnificent Sevens out of college. Now, to be fair, smart kid, studied programming, understands it, works hard, a lot of strong characteristics. Her programming job was 200,000 after college. And this is not with any advanced degree or anything else. So there are tons of opportunities out there for those who really push and strive to get them. Yes, minimum wage jobs are really difficult, and I'm not trying to be hard on anybody. But with the right background and the right drive and the right work ethic, there are tons of opportunities for everybody. And I apologize about my rant about people who rant. But my real problem is I find that these videos, A, are an excuse for others to just accept their situations and blame others. And I get that the videos work, but the world is not a bad place, and there's tons of opportunity out there. And as Americans, we have the most opportunity. There's really nothing stopping anybody from getting a skill and working a job and making a good living. I mean, plumbers, mechanics, um, AC techs, these are all great paying good jobs that are available and have huge demand out there. So there's tons of opportunity. You just have to go out there and find it. And do yourself a favor if you have a minute. Go watch this week's version from a video by Gen X Dividend Investor. I want you guys to see what hard work and putting away can do. And then I also want you to keep something else in mind that I'll get to. He makes a comment about you could be jealous of his portfolio, but he has a lot of serious health issues that you can't really be jealous of, where he loses his memory, he can't drive. He's got a lot of real things going on, and he isn't all that old. But his point is, everybody has their thing. So when you look at somebody and you get jealous of their savings or what they've done, I wouldn't just weigh everything to that. But I hope it inspires people to put away and save, because here's my main point. He's saved up over $3 million, and he doesn't work anymore, and he stopped working when that was making more than what he was making at work. Now, he had to be making a decent salary, and I'm not sure it's really making more than what he was making at work. But he saved up to $3 million. That money makes around $120,000 a year, and he still lives on less than what that is bringing in. So while he was making his income and able to save, he must have been living smaller than what he was making in order to be putting away. The stocks he's invested in are not super aggressive, so it's not like he must have had some huge run up in profits. On top of that, he notes that he hasn't received anything other than, I think it was a bed or something like that when he got married to his wife. So he's managed to save enough of a portfolio, put it away into dividends, that he's now making about $10,000 a month, and I'm guessing they're spending around $7,000 a month and still saving and putting away for the future while he does YouTube videos and takes care of his kids. The point is, you have to live on less than you make and save and put away to be able to grow a portfolio. And then you still have to live small even when that portfolio looks rather big. I'm guessing a lot of the people who get jealous that he has that kind of money think, oh my God, if I had that, I would blah, blah, blah. I'm guessing he doesn't blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't. You just have to stay within your means and have a certain discipline and stick to it. And then stop listening to these negative videos who talk about how things are unfair, because then it's an excuse just not to do well. And do yourself another favor, which is get out into nature, go for a walk, recognize that, you know, there's a lot of really pretty things around us, to get your mind off of the negative things. I mean, I go on my walks because it's my time for me, and I don't typically do the videos because of that. I listen to other people's podcasts or music, or maybe I chat on the phone with my brother, and I just get some me time, which is, I think, really important. And if it's not really important, it's a really nice way for me to enjoy a part of my day. Gives me about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half of just me time. Now, I don't know that I'll end here, but I might start editing or putting all the clips together. So if you could do me a favor, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, make some comments in the video or in the comment section. Did you buy anything to this week or last week? Did you sell? Did you get nervous from the down move? Are you guys really worried that there's a huge crash coming? Like, what's going on in your lives and your financial choices? I love hearing that stuff. If anybody wants me to look at a stock or look at their portfolio, I'm happy to take a little look and see what I think. And I don't know advice or anything else. I'm trying to get the sun so the glare isn't so terrible. But I'm happy to analyze anything. I really do look at earnings and growth rates and stuff. On my set it and forget it account, it's kind of in one ear and out the other because I just want to own the companies that I own. Well, to some degree, I still won't buy Costco because I think it's overvalued. I'm tempted with Netflix now that it fell so much. I think both of those are good companies and I don't own either of them. But happy to take a look and see what the earnings look like and if it looks like something that I think could continue going forward. And if I think about more to talk about, maybe I won't end the video there. Or maybe I'll just be like Ferris Bueller at the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where he's in the shower going, "What are you still doing here? It's over. Go home already. The movie's done." And I thought about doing a new channel, so I'm curious what you guys think. I was going to title it, "What Did Trump Do Today?" Just because people get so worked up on both sides. Some people love him, some people hate him, but it seems to get people going. If I was better at editing, I probably would just go do it, because I take clips of some things he talked about, and then I talk about it and let everybody in the comment section get all worked up. But I'm curious what you guys think about that idea. And then it would just be a daily synopsis of whatever Trump did for the day. Anyway, again, probably talk to you another day and start working on the editing. Have a great one.